Hello.
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 Okay, my mic works. Shoot, I should probably. Never mind.
Okay, stream is up. There's a couple people coming in later, right? Like I know Vicky is at is at TSA.
Vicky is in a Titsunsaki.
I'll give a couple more minutes here.
Have we got are we able to use the on the transcription bot the premium, the real-time version, or free?
I don't think so.
Nope, that's paid, I think. So no.
Yeah, cool. I wasn't sure if that's something we had paid for.
Ouch.
It feels like something that shouldn't need to be paid for, but
Yeah, but then again, the people who made it probably want to get paid for making it.
which is very, very fair.
Yeah. I feel like that kind of thing should be covered society. Okay, that's a topic for another discussion.
Yeah, that's Paul territory. So like,
Yeah, I'm gonna stop in my tracks right there. Stop in the railroad tracks. I'm going to shout out to all of the cool MRT people who are here. Specifically the cool ones. Which is, by the way, pretty much everybody, unless, like, I don't know, if you don't want to be cool, I guess you don't have to be.
Rat, I guess I'm leaving.
No, we need you for quorum.
Yeah, as I found out today, I am terrible at keeping my cool.
oof, what happened?
Is it really hot where you are?
It's not really hot, it's just, there was a bit of a dent in a Tesla somewhere near Huddersfield.
Ah.
Did you put it there?
No comment.
Oh. Slow.
Was I called Nobody Best Friend?
All right.
What?
Let's get this started. All right. So welcome to the June 2026 General Staff Meeting. Not too much going on today. But first we must choose the location of the GSM. I have the wheel. Oh, I should probably, how do I? Ah, here we go. Share it on Discord. There we go. It's also on my stream. Here, it's the wheel. I'm going to spin the wheel. Here we go.
Yay.
Vicky's still in the audience.
Why is the wheel so slow?
I can't see
Well,
anything.
because it's a very big wheel. It has a lot of angular momentum.
Hey, Moraine.
And there's not that...
Refuge Sato Plaza has been chosen.
Ah, Sato Plaza. /TPA Refuge. Oh, that does not work.
Yeah, that's not.
I often do that. I try to teleport requests to cities. It just doesn't really work too well most of the time.
Yeah, Vicky's gonna have to. Yeah, I don't know, to get up on stage because we can only send invites. They have to. Yeah, you gotta.
I don't know why people are teleporting to me. I'm not there.
Didn't Vicky say
Because
she
it's
was only
Plaza.
partly participating though?
Okay, now I'm there. Oh,
hi.
I think this needs a streetcar. Hold on.
Hi, I am here.
Hi, Vicky.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. I wasn't sure if my voice went through.
The wheel
I
has
am.
landed on Sato Plaza at Refuge.
It's a nice pace.
Sato. Don't quote me on that. Refuge
That's
does need a
definitely
centrifuge.
not how you pronounce that.
Which one's my gauge?
Yeah, Sato? Yeah, it's definitely Sato. That is how Japanese works. Or no, it's Sata.
Okay.
Okay,
It's-
let's well, while you guys prep that, let's go on to the actual topics of the meeting. We have 3 conductor applications and 1 community issue to go through. Just a quick note, I did post this in the Discord. Due to a unfortunate bug with the plan plugin, it was found that I said this at the last GSM. The plugin is not reporting players' playtimes accurately. So therefore, when it comes to the minimum requirements for a conductor, I'm going to be waiving that for the time being. So I'm still reporting the numbers from plan in the document, the conductor applications document. But again, take it with a grain of salt because of that bug. It does mean that people who don't meet the minimum 10 hours will be considered. However, I'll leave it up to staff to make a judgment on whether they can be a conductor. So yeah. So the first conductor that we have is engineer_gaming0. I'm going to randomize. AP, do you want to take notes? I see your cursor on there.
Sure.
Ready to go. Okay, thank you. I'm going to randomize the list, and we're going to start voting on Engineer Gaming 0. The first one, and it's not a coincidence, it's not like she got chosen here. Moraine, you're first to vote on Engineer. Moraine is voting for. Next is Foot. Foot is voting neutral. DNA.
4.
DNA is voting for. MBF.
Neutral.
MBF's voting neutral. Vicky.
Neutral.
Vicky's voting neutral. Missa sent in an absentee ballot and is voting neutral.
Misa?
And next is Kel.
Neutral.
Kel is voting neutral. HVT not here. 7D submitted an absentee ballot of 4. I'm next. I'm going to vote neutral. Needon is... I don't see Needon today. I guess he's not here. Okay, so Needon is not here. Zooj. Zooj is voting neutral. Frozen. Frozen.
Do we have somebody taking minutes?
AP.
Yeah,
I
AP
am.
is.
AP.
Okay.
The minutes document might not be public. Hold on. I need to fix... Yeah, I'll fix that in a sec.
Frozen's voting neutral.
Can I just confirm that with my own eyes here? Where's the...
Staff meeting chat.
Frozen's voted neutral. Okay. And, oh, I lost my place. Last 3 people, AP?
4.
AP's voting for. Alpha, is Alpha here? Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Alpha.
here.
Frozen, you can... not Frozen. Fremple, you can end the screen share, I think?
Oh, yeah, I'll get to that.
I don't know why I called you Frozen.
Alpha, what's your vote?
I'll vote for.
Alpha's voting for, and finally Sesh.
I'll be voting for.
Sesh is voting for. Okay, let me get the minutes publicized here so people can see the actual official vote. Anyone want to chime in with their for or neutral justifications here?
I think they've got very good activity. And I like the bit they mentioned with obviously fixing land scars on highways and things like that. That seems like it could be quite useful. Obviously, they might not actually follow through on it, but yeah, that did appeal to me in the application. So
I'm just going to read out the absentee ballot I sent in anticipation of missing this bit. I believe them to be competent with world edit, ambitions are in the right place. I've got no serious concerns.
Okay. I'll follow through that with Miss and H7D's absentee ballots. Missa voted neutral. They said, I don't have enough personal interactions to be able to make an informed decision, but don't have any concerns, whereas 7D said 4. Willing to fill in conductor dead zones and use world edit for road projects. Did not mention anything about world edit skill, but I'm confident that they can world edit. I personally, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know them well enough to really make a judgment. But it is on a, what are we at, 6, 4, and 8 neutral?
Yeah, 6-4, 8 neutral, 2 DMV.
Any further opinions?
Maybe this is something to bring up another time, but at the moment we don't have a meaningful difference between voting against a conductor candidate because of they're being rejected for neutral votes and being rejected for against votes. Beyond the weighting of them. I mean, it's still 3 months in 3 months regardless afterwards. That is something that's kind of on my mind with some of the candidates coming up, less so for engineer. That's not particular. That's kind of that's informed some of my votes coming up. But that's probably another discussion to be had at another time.
I don't, AP, I don't understand what you're trying to say, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like that's a community issue for like later.
Yeah, that's it. It's a community issue. I'm going to post that after the GSM.
Okay. I would be in
I
favor
understand what you're
of
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
of
Like, I
exploring
feel
that.
like the cooldown should be shorter for a candidate voted neutrally versus a candidate voted against.
Okay, I don't know how to proceed here. Does anyone want to change their vote, or are we still making arguments?
Yeah, I'll change
for
my
it?
vote to 4.
Okay, so MBF's
Honestly, yeah,
going
I'm
to
only
change
just
to
changed
vote.
mine to 4-2, just looking at the application. Think.
Okay,
Is
Kel's
that,
changing to
Kel,
4.
who you voting for?
Yeah.
As is Zoosh changing to 4.
Okay.
And foot has changed.
Are we basing this simply on that there's no problems with them or no reported problems with them? And
Yeah, I have no problems.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I more voted neutral is to defer to other people who know them better.
That's fine.
It's similar here.
Okay, any further opinions or any further vote changes? Otherwise, we're going to lock this in pretty soon.
So I've got DMVs on HVT and Needon, neutrals on Frozen, Frumple, Missa, Vicky. We've got 4 from everyone else. Oh, Frozen changed their vote to 4 as well.
Yeah, Frozen. Well, he's typed. Yeah, we have to. I'm looking mainly at the main chat. Only Frozen's typing in the staff meeting chat, but I guess that's because the transcription bot's there. I'm gonna stick with my neutral vote. I just don't know.
This head. Oh. It's the Beach Boy.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Sorry.
Okay, so right now the vote is standing at 11, 4, 3 neutral. Given no other further comments, that's a promotion to conductor, so congratulations, engineer. Okay, and let's go on to the next candidate. That is gamma_function. I'm going to randomize the list again. And the first person to vote is me. Wow. I'm going to vote neutral. And next is Moraine. Moraine is voting 4. Miss has sent in an absentee ballot of 4. Next is Kel.
4.
Kel is voting 4. Foot. Foot is voting 4. DNA.
4.
DNA is voting 4. AP.
Neutral.
AP is voting neutral. Vicky. Vicky's voting 4. HVT not here. 7T has submitted an absentee ballot of 4. Sesh.
I'll be voting 4.
Sesh is voting 4. Zooj. Zooj. Zooj is voting 4. Next is Needon, who's not here. And next is Frozen. Frozen is typing. Frozen wrote a big thing, but he's essentially voting against right now. Next is MBF.
Neutral.
MBF's voting neutral. And finally, Alpha.
4.
Alpha's voting 4. So just read out, so I don't forget. Frozen said they're voting against because I have concerns with playtime, especially in March, April, only 15 minutes. So I'll vote against. Nothing against the person. And then absentee ballots, Missa voted 4. Pleasant, friendly player whenever I've encountered them online. Appreciated the self-reflection in their application. And 7D voted 4. Is cognizant of past actions and wishes to change it.
Yeah.
Yes,
What
sir.
I wrote myself was neutral, but only just. I'm glad they're acknowledging their past shortfalls and aiming to move forward, but I don't think they've been back quite long enough to form a reasonable judgment for this time. Would probably vote for in a few months if nothing comes up in the meantime.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat, AP. I don't know them. They did recently come back up. I am curious. I will ask the people who voted 4. Is that a concern at all for you, or is there something that's causing you to vote for?
I think I appreciated the self-reflection in the latter part of their application, and I think that sort of shows enough sign of maturity and growth, to be honest, for me to vote for.
Yeah, same here. I feel like they're like I've seen them fairly active recently, so like I don't really have concerns with their activity like falling off suddenly.
I think it'd be different for moderator, but for conductor, I think that's fine personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to change my vote to a 4 for that reason. I was on the fence for that reason originally.
Okay. Yeah, the pattern. Okay, the pattern I'm starting to read in chat and also is people seem to have a pretty good impression of them. I'm gonna stick with neutral because again, I'm basing this off my own experiences. So
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with neutral. I think I'm sticking with neutral. Reason I've said above.
Yeah. Frozen is typing, so I'm curious. Oh, there we go. Frozen says, I mean, interactions with Gamma has been great. Nothing against him at all. I'm just trying to bring the attention to the fact that he's only acted the last month. Yeah, technically, but actually, Frozen, take the 9 hours 44 minutes with a grain of salt because of plan's activity bug.
Yeah, like I'm taking the error bars on April. As far as I'm concerned, for April, it's not a concern for me. I'm taking the error bars on that. It's May and
June.
sorry, April. Yeah, it's I know what I was trying to say.
Yeah, because it even though it says 9 hours 44 minutes, I'm not. It's not clear to me whether maybe they did have the 10 hours of activity or maybe not. I'm not sure.
That is something that can be looked up through some counting that I don't think anyone wants to do.
No,
Well, the thing is, I don't know if. Well, I guess you could do it through chat message and stuff,
Yeah,
but
that's how.
that's gonna. It's also
But
not
if it
clear.
came down to that, we could.
It's also not clear. Is it an issue with plan? Like, is the activity recorded by plan in its database inaccurate, or is it more of a display issue? Because again, the issue I saw was on one page it said a time or a duration, and another page it said a slightly different duration. So I don't know if it's like a interpretation issue or something. Anyway, given that, it sounds like the vote is solidified here. So 11-4, 2 neutral, 1 against. Any final last comments here before we close this?
Engineers here.
Yes, they were here. Okay, hearing no other comments, that means Gamma Function will be promoted to Conductor. Congratulations. And our final conductor candidate is SB Dev. I'm going to randomize the list again. And first up is Kel.
probably like against. I don't. That activity doesn't really. I'm just not seeing enough activity there.
Okay. All right. Kel votes against. 7D voted for, based on his absentee ballot. And then next is Foot. Foot. Foot is voting neutral on activity. Moraine. Oh, whoops. Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop the vote here. Frozen was looking at the wrong time activity for when voting for.
Okay.
I'm reading staff chat. Yeah, I guess they can see it on my stream. So, okay, Frozen. Do you want to change your vote then? Just for the record. Okay. Which D would you like to change it to? Frozen's going to change it to 4. So AP, could you just update that quickly?
Of course.
All right. So let me just check minutes here. Okay, we got Foot's vote for SPDev. And then next is Moraine. Moraine, your vote on SPDev. Against purely on activity. Okay. Vicky is next. Vicky's voting for. Frozen is next. I guess Frozen would vote. I'm assuming your against vote was supposed to be for this, for SB here. Correct? Against as I intended. Okay. So Frozen's voting against. I am going to vote against. AP.
Neutral.
AP's voting neutral. MBF.
Neutral.
MBF's voting neutral. HVT's not here. DNA.
Oh,
DNA?
sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I said 4 leaning neutral.
DNA's voting for. Zuge. Zuge neutral. Zuge is voting neutral. Miss has submitted an absentee ballot of neutral. Alpha.
Neutral. What else?
DNA said he's voting for leaning neutral. That is what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally Niden is not here, and then finally Sesh.
Neutral.
Sesh is voting neutral. Okay, so this might be a case where the against votes might cause them to be denied right away, but I'll let EP calculate things. I'll read the absentee ballots. SB voted, or no, Missa voted neutral on SB. Normally I wouldn't vote for, but I don't think SB has quite enough recent activity. And 7D voted... Missa voted neutral. 7D voted for... Has previous experience, so no worries from me. Wait, does Sesh have to abstain? Is that a thing?
Have to? No.
I don't think so.
I don't...
Do we have any rules about abstaining at all?
If there's a conflict of interest of any sort, but being a family member...
Family?
Or not family. I mean friend.
Chosen family, maybe.
Yeah. So I got the weird. I don't know. Weird assumption that you were brothers or something, but no, that's not the case.
No.
Remind me what the oh no, I found it. 51% of 4 votes, and did not receive 3 or more against, or 21%, whichever is greater.
There's 4 against votes, so
Yeah.
I don't see this passing in any way.
yeah. Regardless,
At this point, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, that rule is mainly in. I don't know if it's ever happened, but in cases where a few people vote against, but everyone else votes for, which kind of belies a bigger problem. But unfortunately, we haven't.
Yep.
We
No,
haven't
this is
had
not that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't otherwise pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, no problems from my end either, other than activity.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say no serious concerns other than activity, but having been back a month doesn't feel quite long enough. Would otherwise be an unhesitant for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again,
it would be again had if it is like another 3 months and they remain active and apply again.
Even 2 months, like
No, that's true.
For me, like
But they can't because of the cooldown.
Which is going to be a separate issue that we need to discuss at some other point. Probably your best opportunity, AP, to just remember the August GSM is canceled. So if you want to bring that up, July would be the next GSM would be the time to do it.
Yes,
so
I will be doing so.
For me, I think that just the net positives of SB outweigh the activity. So, yeah.
Bobby, to explain, please read the message I put in mod nominations. The reason why I did not deem them, I would normally deem them ineligible, but because the plan plugin is screwed up, I can't. We know that as far as I've seen, the inaccuracies only go up to maybe like 2 or 3 hours. But even that, but since I don't know the extent of what the inaccuracies are exactly, I decided to just allow any conductors in and not check for their activity. I will still post their activity on that sheet, but I'm not going to block based on ineligibility at this time. I need to, I guess and as a side AP, I want to also, I don't know if you can integrate in this as part of your discussion, but like maybe a different like a discussion about how to measure conductor eligibility from this point, because if we can't use plan, then we have to find something else. But that's a separate discussion.
The other thing would be potentially just going through
AP, are you
going
muted?
through the logs and just having some scripts just crawl through the logs
Hello?
to find their login logout dates.
Hold on.
Which I managed the sort of thing which would be trivial.
Hello?
Hello.
Sorry, my headphones died for a sec there. Sorry, I missed what you said, AP, or any others.
I mean, we could just have somebody write a script, just to crawl through the server logs just to find login logout dates.
I'm not sure. Is AFK recording?
Not. It is not. It is not recorded.
It is
Yeah,
not.
it is not. So
Okay.
that solution will not work, unfortunately.
Yeah, because if that was, we could do that quite easily. But
Unfortunately, yeah, AFK time is only logged client side, so
unless we have MRT utils plugin, but yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we'll come back to this. We could loop after. Let's finish discussion about SP. So it seems like the arguments put forward is activity for the neutral against, but some people look past that because SP is known to be a trustworthy member, right? So any further comments, any vote changes, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, like I said, if this was coming up a month in 2 months, I don't think it will be an issue. Granted, 2 months is a bit of a special case right now because of the August GSM being cancelled. But yeah, if this was coming up even next month, I don't think it would be a problem. But I wish SB was able to apply next month. But I think that will be a discussion to be had. The community issue will be posted shortly.
Okay. Again, the rule for that, I think, was mainly so that we'd stop getting people who kept people who we know who kept getting voted down for conductor from reapplying too quickly. Though again, that might not be appropriate nowadays, since it seems like most people get conductor if they apply. Okay, hearing no other further comments, I'm going to say that SPDev is not promoted based on a vote of 3-4, 7 neutral, 4 against. And that's that. All right, so let's move on to the community issue, the one community issue. It is from Alpha, who would like some minor changes to some of the rules around events. Alpha, would you like to do a little summary or explain this topic?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the rule proposal is it's basically a small rewarding on the events and I think events funding section in the policies and procedure. So basically, it's a minor change, and there are like a few implications with this change. The first one is with this change, basically I'm proposing that instead of like blanket banning event organizers from participating in their events, it's basically gonna only be banning organizers in events that where they have like some kind of like significant advantage. I think like with this change, it will definitely provide more flexibility and hopefully a little bit more incentive to the organizers without compromising the well, the fairness of the events themselves. Because like a lot of the more recent events, uh, like for example, the MRT Vision or some of the Central City building contest, the organizers they really don't have like they cannot really like skew the event unfairly. So I think with this change, it can like modernize the rules a little bit more.
Okay.
I think it looks good, to be honest. So
I did bring up a couple concerns, but let me read the absentee ballots. As it says, they're fine with the proposed changes. They seem to maintain the spirit of the rule as it currently stands while potentially fostering greater engagement of server events. And 7D says 4 changes are reasonable and should reflect the status quo in organizing events. I guess, yeah, the concern I brought up in the community issue was like, I think it was mainly, I think you argued in like, if something were to go wrong, we'd also mostly react to it after the fact, like after the event has done, or maybe even during when the event has been occurring. But I would like to, I don't know if it can be reflected in the rules per se, but I would prefer that we try to figure that out beforehand, like as the event proposal is being made. I'd like to be more proactive about this because, as I've kind of learned over the years, some people have very different definitions of what "quote unquote" fair is. They may not see that participating in their own event might introduce bias, even a little bit of bias into the game. And there's also that sometimes there's even if there isn't any, there's sometimes perception like from other people that if the organizers asking for funding and then participating in their own event, it feels like Obama giving themselves a reward. that meme basically. So yeah.
Yeah, in the discussion thread, I guess I posted like a possible amendment is that we require the organizers to, for example, declare their intent on whether they would like to join or maybe they will only join in certain circumstances. Though I guess like the main concern I have with this is what if the organizer changes their mind? Would they have to like make a new proposal? And what if like the proposal wouldn't make it in time? And I guess there's also a little bit of ambiguity in, sometimes like what would count as like an organizer or a host or like, I guess like in the CHL, for example, Quebec is listed as the deputy commissioner. So they technically do have, I guess, like some kind of like a managerial role in the league. However, most of the or I guess like the rules and enforcement, like basically I'm the only one handling it. So even though given their role, they may be required to declare their intention. In practice, it probably it's basically what I'm saying is like it might be a little bit ambiguous whether they'll need to do so.
I guess to go on your example, Alpha, like if the person makes a proposal, they say that this is how the event's going to be run, and then later on they have some changes they want to make. I think it depends on what the changes are. So if it's like something minor, like something really small, I think just notifying staff that it happened, would be probably good enough. In most cases, I think staff would be okay with it. But if it's something that is like totally different from what staff and I guess the rest of the community expect, like maybe like prize distribution or like a big change to that, or how, or the rules around the event, for example,
I
then
feel like it's something that already kind of needs like a proposal, anyways. If you
I guess what Elf, yeah, I guess what Elf is saying is, what's the line? Like, what's the when do you need to submit a proposal, right? Like, or repropose, I should say.
Regarding the fairness, I'd say, is that not already kind of an issue with existing events, in the sense that someone might favour their friends or someone they're close with in the event winning? And I don't think we really have too many issues with that as it is now, in terms of unfairness.
Yeah, but but usually those cases are not involving the organizer, right? Unless you're talking about.
I feel like.
I'm saying the organizer could make the event like biased towards someone they're close with or someone who they want to win as it stands.
Okay.
I suppose maybe there's more of an incentive if they're participating themselves. So that is a good point. But
sure, okay.
We haven't had any issues with friends currently, I suppose. So
yeah. MBF, go ahead.
I still feel like even if there is possible exploitation issues here, we benefit more from reducing barriers to having events be hosted.
Yeah.
And we can address that as a problem if it ever comes up.
I don't fully agree with that, because I think I said this in the thread. If an argument comes out where staff have one idea of how the event was going to be run, and then the event organizer does something quote unquote unfair and they don't agree with it, that's going to be a bit of an argument. That's going to be not pleasant to deal with. I will say that might leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth, in a sense. So I kind of want to just try to avoid those sort of situations if we can.
Just to kind of again what I wrote earlier. I think it's a slightly cruel irony that for most events, those probably most engaged or interested in them are, both of those more likely to organise them and are excluded from participation. What I want is events that involve secretive ballot voting should be organised in such a way to prevent the organiser from rigging the vote. Things like the Admiral building contest, that in some ways went on trust that the organizer, me, hadn't rigged the vote. Obviously there has to be some trust somewhere, but it's one of those things where it's very difficult. It's easy to say what the theory should be, difficult to say what it practices.
I think if you really, in IRL, a lot of events are run to avoid any sort of scandal or bias or anything. They usually have someone, not the organizer, like tally up the votes and that sort of thing. But I can consider this scenario. Let's say Yoshi, okay, maybe that's a bad example, but somebody does a big event and their voting is, they don't vote. The voting is done by a whole bunch of other people, right? By the community. But the person collecting those votes and tallying it up, that might be the organizer. We're trusting the organizer to not, miscalculate or add bias or anything like that. Not that it's never happened before, as far as I know. But like in most cases, if you want to remove any sort of possibility of bias, you usually give that to someone else to do, not the organizer. Especially if the organizer was participating in that contest themselves, right? Am I making sense? Maybe I need to reword that.
Yeah,
you're making sense.
Have an independent vote. Have an independent auditor.
In the case, particularly in the case, if that organizer is participating in that contest themselves, like example, Yoshi submits their own screenshot to their screenshot contest, right? Like, I think, that's kind of why the rule was there in the first place. I'm okay with lifting it. It just means we have to watch out for that scenario, because, if someone decided to do that, people would not be happy. I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
Alpha,
I suppose we would encourage members to obviously speak to staff if ever they feel there is anything unfair going on in an event. But obviously that's depending on them actually noticing it in the first place. So,
or worst case scenario, as I said, some people like this, like they don't realize that it is unfair, right? Like they just you just don't notice. I guess let's be a bit more concrete here. Alpha, I know you. Are there specific events or people or like organizers who brought this up, and they like, are there specific events where this rule would benefit them specifically, whereas we're in the case that the organizer wants to participate in their own event? Is there specific examples?
I guess like this proposal like was originally like originated from like a conversation with Yoshi like regarding MRT vision. I think like if you look at like the past events, I think like most organizers they tend to like avoid playing their own event already. It's kind of like somewhat of an like unwritten rule. Perhaps except if they're really missing some players or I think in the MLS like in leagues. So that's why when I was proposing this, I didn't think like that would be like it wouldn't be like a big issue. Like I feel like this rule change it mostly would be concerning regarding like contests. I feel like in larger events like toward or the organizers they probably wouldn't wouldn't participate anyway.
But I guess what I'm trying to ask is because I guess the point, I understand the point of what this rule is supposed to do. It's supposed to allow people to do more events, give them more incentive, especially give the organizers more incentive to do the event, because then they can now, participate in it themselves. I'm asking for, are there examples of people wanting to do those sort of events? They wish they could run the event if they could participate in it themselves.
I guess like there isn't any that I can name particularly, but I think well, at least for me, I feel like that can be like a common scenario, like when thinking about like organizing certain events, especially in contests.
But we know we don't have any examples, though, right?
Right.
I'm thinking
you say
of
it's
some
common,
that
but
might potentially.
You say it's common, but where's the evidence? Like I'm trying to
Maybe
find it
Taco
here.
Burrito-a-thon?
You'd have to ask the organizers of that, I guess.
Yeah, because when Skelly was trying to pass it off, he was really unable to find people for the most part.
But what for what reasons though? Like, was it?
I'm assuming that there were people who, first of all, just did not want the responsibility, but also maybe people who may have wanted the responsibility, but would want to still play it, and didn't want to not ever play again.
Okay, but again, that's speculation though. Like we don't know. We don't know for sure, right?
But would we know?
Like Skelly participated in MLS on your proposal.
Sorry.
Yeah, and with the Admiral building contest, I mean, I don't know if I would. I think I would have wanted to put in an entry, but obviously, as I wanted to avoid any sort of accusation of bias, and because it was a funded contest. So that's an example, maybe not a good example, but.
Yes, I think you did put as well. You said, for example, Skelly and Valkorian had both played in the MLS in previous seasons, despite being the commissioners. I thought that was the concrete example you gave in your original proposal.
Yeah, something like MLS, where it's a league. It is a league. All the scores are public, and all of the scores and all of the bracketing and everything is public. That I've got absolutely no concerns over the organisers participating. Yeah, where there's a ballot involved, I feel like the ballot should be verifiable, or with somebody independent and unconnected. I don't know if we want to set up a. I don't want to know if we want to set up an actual voting authority. That feels like maybe overstepping.
Maybe we do just sort of say like what Alpha said earlier, just if someone wants to participate in their own event, they can just clarify that in the proposal. I guess staff can on a case by case basis just assess how it's going to be judged, and we can make a decision then.
Yeah, I'm seeing what's in the chat right now. I guess to clarify, like, the whole reason that rule's in place is, let's say Alpha organizes their own event, they get funding, and then they win their own event. Can you say for certain that there's at least going to be at least some person out there going to say, "Oh, Alpha got money for his own event. He rigged it himself." Blah 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 blah. Like, like like there
I
even
think for
yeah.
MLS, definitely not, because obviously that's like I say public schools. But I guess for MRT Vision, I could see that happening, where I guess it's a bit more opaque in terms of how the votes are counted.
Yeah. Yeah, people can say whatever, but in this case, and we, maybe it is not, maybe Alpha had nothing to do with it, but the perception would still persist, right? Like, that's kind of why the rule is there, to just completely, like, just avoid that sort of situation. Yeah, as I said, the worst case scenario, and it may not happen, but like the situation's trying to avoid is a scandal, basically, like someone organizing their own event and then effectively cheating.
Event gate.
Yeah, something like that. But it's not happened in the history of the server, but well, as far as I know.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what if like we were allowed, the organisers are allowed to participate, but cannot receive prizes through funding. Like, maybe it would.
I feel like that's another
doing
can of worms. So, like, what if it's technically an event where it can't really be rigged, but someone has to organize it anyway, but now they can't get money if they win, yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
Like, I think just saying if you can do it, but you definitely can't get money, just adds more problems later, because then it's like the theoretical of, well, what if there's a situation where it isn't actually unfair?
Yeah. I'll also mention again, the money on the server is fake, so let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is a sort of clout that comes from winning an event, like,
yeah.
So
yeah, the clout of having your screenshot right at the top of the server banner and right at the top of the website.
Solution: just have Alpha participate in everything that has somebody self-participating and hosting. It's okay. Alpha will just win it, and it won't be a problem.
No, I still would personally be in favour of just case by case, and I think for something like MLS, if someone's getting upset that the person who's running the competition has won, I would say that's sort of the them problem, because like very objectively that they participated, it was they're often live streamed, things like that. I think for MRT Vision, I can understand it a lot more, because obviously it's not a transparent voting process. I suppose Yoshi has the votes behind the scenes, but then I'd say if we did it on a case by case basis, we could just say we could judge as staff, if it's not a transparent voting system, then we don't allow it. But I completely see where you're coming from, just from a risk mitigation point of view.
Yeah.
There is a risk, but I suppose for me, I'd just say get over it personally if you're going to get annoyed by that. So yeah.
Yeah. Think of where there are. I think what we're saying in terms of having the organizer lets you put in some sort of rule that is to your advantage. For the next season of MLS, anybody named Alex gets another 3 points added to their score at the start of the match automatically.
Yeah. At which point,
I mean, if that were in the rules, we would not.
That's unfair. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'd be happy to case by case on that basis. But obviously, I understand completely from a risk mitigation point of view. You know, if other staff don't want to do that, that's understandable. So,
Or even more subtle things of the rules happen to favour something you're slightly better at.
Just going to respond to consumed here. Given we don't live in necessarily a free market of events here, honestly, events happen on here pretty rarely. So I don't think
Way more
people.
competition.
Yeah, so I don't know if that really applies here. And yeah, again, yeah, it's about preventing potential drama. I would say, like, yeah, I'm okay with the rule. Like, we can go ahead with this rule change that Alpha has proposed. I'm just putting up just a flag of caution here of what potentially, again, it may not happen, potentially could happen. And I think this discussion is good because at least I think when staff look, I hope that maybe from now staff will look at these event proposals and maybe have a more discerning eye on them to watch out for those sort of things. Because
I think they're great concerns to raise, to be honest, as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
People shouldn't be expected to organise events themselves because they also organise an event goes all 1890s New York. That's going to have to be a reference that's explained because I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, me neither.
I think it's kind of what Consume said. I think it's kind of implied, Alpha. Just correct me if I'm wrong, or unless you want to explicitly write in the rule here. But if an organizer is participating themselves, they have to declare it, right? They have to say so. Is that implied, or is that something we can add to the rule?
That's probably something they should add to the rules. That is the verdict, because you know, just to make things a bit more clear.
Sure, but let's do that. Let's revise that rule then, or add that into the rule. Just say, yeah, if you're participating, or I guess more generally, if there's any chance of introducing bias, like, you know, say that as well if you can think of it, right? So
yeah, and like how you're mitigating. Yeah, whether you as the organizer are participating, and if so, how you intend to prevent any possible bias.
I think that's I'm okay with that change.
yeah, like the big part is I guess, yeah, the big part is the organizer. If the organizers participating themselves, they have to declare it. I guess in general, if there's anything that will possibly cause the event to be run I guess the organizer has a responsibility to run the event as fairly as they can, right? Sometimes mistakes happen. That's fine, but they need to make sure to try to, not not get into that sort of situation.
I guess like one more thing is like, okay, if, for example, the organizer forgot to mention it, or if the situation changes, maybe there are like fewer players than expected who signed up for it. Would they have to do a re-proposal, or maybe they could like ask a staff to approve it?
I think as we said, I think that's going to be a case by case basis. It depends on what the change is. If it's a really minor thing, like, oh, I don't know, one of the organizers had to be swapped out, or the host had to be swapped out, that's minor. But if it's something that changes a big major change to the rules, or how the event is run, or how fair it is, especially, then yeah, I think that you definitely at least tell staff, and then staff will tell you whether you probably need to repropose it or not.
Yeah, I think that's.
And they could also just say, I would like the ability to participate in the event if there's like less members joining or something.
Yeah, that's also example. Yeah, if that changes.
If 10 or less, if 10 or fewer players participate, I shall intend to participate myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Does that sound good? Is that clear? We got a good idea? Alpha, are you good there?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Okay, so in the minutes, how should we summarize this? As proposed.
As proposed, plus the organizers must make sure that they declare in their proposal if they are participating in the event or not. That, you can rewrite that. That's just a summary. And
We
they
also
are
want to put in there, like, make them declare how they're involved too.
how they're involved. Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I know this is all just about fake money, but I've seen, again, for some of the newer members here, I've seen in the older days of the server, there were definitely a few events that were, I'm not going to say they were run unfairly, but there were definitely accusations flying around. And when you get into when those sort of things happen, it's not fun for everyone, including staff. Okay, are we good for
Yeah.
that topic?
I
Okay.
think we're good.
All right. That's the end of the meeting. There's no trustee meeting notes, are there?
No.
I
I do
I
believe Elite is not here.
I feel like I'm a guy looking around the corner, looking outside on the street, just looking both ways, trying to see if the lead will just jump me or something.
Peering behind the corner of a building.
I have a letter from Elliot Nian that says
Uh-oh.
the trustee meeting notes are as follows. Please cause your own chaos. Conclude.
I think that mission has been completed successfully looking at the GSM area.
So Elite's outsourcing it
Sorry,
right
go ahead.
now. Okay, no, sorry, never mind. Go ahead, Dina.
So I was going to say, I'm going to probably start survival this month as well for the summer. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're in the announcements. I guess if you want to do Q&A also at this point, if you have any questions or comments or stuff, you can start asking them in the chat right now. I guess one thing I'll say, we're still on 111, what is it, 121.11. Given that there are, the big event that's happening this summer seems to be JAR, JS Sparrow's Amazing Race. There's an event, the first day is happening in a couple weeks, 1 or 2 weeks from now. And then
it's happening on the 27th, I believe.
Yeah, 27th, and the next one is the August, where the August GSM was going to be. I will say I know 26.1 is out, and it seems pretty ready, though I have not tested it. I'm kind of thinking of maybe just postponing any sort of updates until all of that is done, because based on the supposed expected player numbers coming for that event, it could just fill most of the server, and I'm not sure how well the server will handle that. So
I think it likely
will. There not be random unexplained crashings 2 days before the event.
Yeah. Looking at the block changes, for 26.1, which is what I think most people will care more about. It's just you can add trumpets to note blocks.
Trumpets. I love trumpets.
Trumpets and note blocks and tripwire textures have changed slightly.
Yeah. My biggest worry though is if we the risk is if we update and then the server starts crashing more. That's what I'd like to try to avoid that. So far, though, the server's not been too busy lately. We haven't had a crash for many months now, which is great. I'd like to keep it that way. So
I'll take a moment to appreciate that.
Yeah, so I think the best idea is to just keep it on 121.11 until August or late August, and then I'll look at updating everything then. So yep. Were there any questions? I wasn't reading chat or anything. Yeah, I guess we're in the Q&A portion, so if you have any questions or final comments, please leave them out here. That's a silly question, Jinty.
Silly question.
I also don't know what it
Seal.
means.
Literally the animal.
Sure, seal, cool. Yep. Okay, yeah, we're already going straight into the silly questions, so. Okay, I think, unless there's anything else, I think we're going to bring this meeting to a close.
Can someone kill the fast boys, please, as well?
Oh, where did you guys... Oh, you guys built way up here. Oh, Moraine... Moraine, are you okay with this? I guess we'll clean it up.
Or were horses falling off the platforms, or?
Okay, I guess that's it. So again, the next GSM will be July, and again, reminder, the August GSM is canceled. So if you have any community issues or things you want to submit, be sure to do them at the July one, because otherwise you're going to have to wait 2 months. Okay, that's all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
How do I end this thing?
See you in September.